The Boston Celtics have made a signing in 2025 NBA free agency, bringing in Luka Garza, the former Iowa big man, former National College Player of the Year, on a 2-year, $5.5 million contract. Just a few minutes ago, we saw the Celtics lose Luke Kornet in NBA free agency to the San Antonio Spurs on a big 4-year, $41 million deal. Now they bring in Luka Garza here to basically be the Luke Kornet replacement for next season and potentially beyond. We did break down the Luke Kornet loss earlier, and we were going to push that video out, but then the Luka Garza signing came in right before we were about to hit publish. So this is being attached onto a video that we had 25 minutes ago where we were breaking down Luke Kornet to the Spurs and a little bit of Al Horford update as well. So we're going to break down this Luka Garza signing in just a second, but in about 5 minutes or so, we're going to bring it over to old me, and we're going to talk about the Celtics' losses in the front court. But hey, now they've added an addition to the front court in Luka Garza. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because we break down all the Celtics offseason moves. Luka Garza coming to Boston here on a low-risk signing that I think could potentially blossom for Boston as they have a big-time opening now in the front court, losing Luke Kornet and potentially Al Horford as well. There's a lot of minutes open at that center spot. And Luka Garza, in his short time in the NBA so far, hasn't really had a huge opportunity to showcase his skills. This is a real 3-level scorer in this league. Now, has he showcased a hot stroke from three-point range so far? Not really, but he can also hit the mid-range. He has a little push shot right above the restricted arc. He's a really good low-post scorer, can get position on defenders. This is a very skilled and high IQ offensive talent, and I think he's going to have an opportunity to showcase that with the Celtics next season. He was playing behind solid defenders up there in Minnesota as well, so could that translate a little bit? He's also worked on his body a lot as he kind of came into the league. You could argue a little bit out of shape for NBA-level athletes, and now he looks real cut and ready to run the floor a little bit. I was just watching his highlights from the 23-24 season where he saw a little bit more of an opportunity than he did this past year. And he was getting up and down the floor, man, being the trailing big man, running the fast break, and receiving a dump-off pass and slamming it down. Also a solid offensive rebounder as well. I think this is going to be a good fit for Boston. And can he become a player that, fits the Luke Kornet mold of get the ball at the high post, be able to turn face, hit the open shooter in the corner, or be able to do that on the roll in the pick and roll as well? I think he can be. He's played at Iowa for 4 seasons and was absolutely awesome in basically all of them. Won the National Player of the Year, and he was a walking 25-10 in college. I think he can absolutely fill up the box score with actual opportunity in Boston. So we'll see where it all goes for a low-risk signing. I like this move a lot as a solid fit within the Celtics system. Jay King brought up a little bit of a analysis after the signing was made about how the fit will be in Boston. So Garza has been productive during limited minutes early in his career, though he's been more of a three-point taker than a three-point maker so far, which I alluded to. Not necessarily known for his defense, but has put in a lot of work on his body since entering the NBA and can really hit the offensive glass. And we know the Celtics need to generate possessions next season. Jason Tatum, their best rebounder, out for the year. Now you lose Luke Kornet as well. Luka Garza comes in, and hopefully he can be productive for your season. On a cheap deal as well, man. I like this deal. Grade the signing for me. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section. We'll be back in just a moment with my Luke Kornet analysis, losing him to San Antonio. But you grade the signing of Luka Garza for me down below. A, B, C, D, or F. I'll have to give it a B. I'll give it a solid B here, given the C's losing their front court in Al Horford potentially. And now we know Luke Kornet is gone. The first domino of the 2025 Boston Celtics free agency cycle has officially fallen as Luke Kornet signing with the San Antonio Spurs on a 4-year, $41 million deal. You're watching Celtics Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Tyler Smith, and I'm here to break down the Celtics breaking news around Luke Kornet and what it means for the rest of Boston's free agency pursuits and beyond. Before we break it all down, though, this is why you subscribe to the channel. When the Celtics make a move, and this isn't necessarily a Celtics move per se, but this is a Celtics player on the move, we make a video for you. We're covering every ounce, every acre of the Boston Celtics offseason, and I want you guys to be a part of it. So lock us in, hit that subscribe button for the best Boston Celtics coverage on YouTube all offseason long. Alrighty, so let's break this down, man. Luke Kornet, he really came along this past season for the C's. In the Celtics title run, yeah, he was getting some spot minutes here and there, but I honestly wasn't a huge fan of when Kornet was out there on the floor. They were, experimenting him and Neemias Queta back in late 2023, early 2024. I always thought Kornet was better, but I wasn't necessarily in love with him being out there on the floor, especially in critical moments. Then 24-25 comes around, and he absolutely balled when he got the opportunity. Really bought in and kind of meshed the best in the Celtics offensive system, being a great short roller, and he would hit players in the corner wide open, or he had the nice ability to be a rebound, get an offensive rebound, and then kick it out to an open shooter in one motion. Just knew the way. He'd be a great passer out of the high post as well. Just knew how to play the Celtics brand of offense, and that's gotten him paid now. He's an uber efficient around the rim player, has ditched his previous archetype of stretch big when he's playing for the New York Knicks and Chicago Bulls early on in his career, and has become a rim protecting, high IQ connecting piece on offense. And he was really exemplified in the postseason this past year when Porzingis was dealing with the mystery illness, and Al Horford can only play so many minutes at age 39, albeit at a high level. In Game 5 in do-or-die basketball for Boston in the wake of the Jason Tatum injury, Luke Kornet absolutely balled, and we will always have this epic performance. We had 7 blocks off of the bench, a Celtic record, 10 points, 9 rebounds. This is playing his absolute heart out when KP couldn't even be out there on the basketball court. I'm going to miss Luke Kornet immensely on the C's. This creates a big void for the Celtics at that backup center position because, look, Kornet was never going to start for the Celtics next season. Potentially that would have been the plan if you couldn't bring back Al Horford, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But now Kornet gets $10 million a season, something the Celtics literally could not match no matter what. Like, even if they made a pre-free agency trade of Sam Hauser or George Niang, they just wouldn't have been able to make the Luke Kornet signing happen. And Jay King of The Athletic reported this a little bit earlier, that the Celtics don't even want to move Sam Hauser at this point. They're more keen on maybe potentially flipping Anthony Simons or George Niang, who haven't even played a game for the Celtics just yet. So it really was never all that likely that Kornet was going to come back to Boston. He was going to have a bunch of different suitors right when free agency opened. I'm sure that he took the 45 minutes or so to mull over or wait for any last-minute calls of a team willing to throw, double-digit millions at him. And the Spurs were there with a really, really nice offer. Look, man, I like the fit a ton for Kornet on the Spurs here as he's pairing up next to Victor Wembanyama. That's a really good backup big and a really available backup big to have behind him. And just a super high IQ offensive player. It's only going to help Victor Wembanyama thrive and continue to develop in this league. I love the fit a lot in San Antonio. He's from Texas. So, a little bit, it's quasi-homecoming for Luke Kornet here, and he's getting the biggest payday of his career. I think this is a really good move for the Spurs, and congratulations to Luke Kornet for, getting an awesome dollar in his bank account at this point. What's your one-word reaction to Luke Kornet to moving on to the San Antonio Spurs? My one-word reaction would be just sad. Just sad at the end of the day. I would love if Luke Kornet could spend his entire career with the Boston Celtics. He's been here for the past 4 seasons or so, and that actually made him eligible for a no-trade clause, which would have been funny if it incentivized him to stay with the C's. But he's getting a massive payday here. I'm sad to see him go, but happy for the player who has been shooting 70% from the floor over the past couple of seasons. Also, like a 90% free throw shooter as well, Kornet is. So, the San Antonio is getting a good one offensively here. Not a player who's not going to make mistakes, but we can only talk about the San Antonio aspect of things for so long now. Now we have to shift back focus to the Boston Celtics and their free agency pursuits the rest of this offseason, and also concerning a player that wore green last year. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but go down below and get this awesome deal that I found with our friends over at Fanatics. Well, a friend found it for me, and I love the way that this shirt looks, and we got to reminisce on the good times, man. The good times being when we were lifting the Larry O'Brien trophy, when Luke Kornet was still a member of the Boston Celtics, as well as Drew Holiday and Kristaps Porzingis. And you guys can get this awesome 2024 championship shirt here at this link, chatsports.com/champ sale, because this thing was $38. Now it's $17 on clearance in all the sizes. So you guys can get it at this link right here, chatsports.com/champ sale. It's got Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Horford, Derek White, the whole crew, Drew Holiday, and lifting up that Larry O.B., which I still dream about every single night. Go get it at this link right here. I put it in the comment section and description of today's video as well. Chatsports.com/champ sale. Okay, this came in. Wild Twitter rumor before we get out of today's show, because I want to keep you guys updated with what's going on and what we hear about the other marquee Celtics free agent, and that is Al Horford. This came in from Phantom, small account on Twitter, like less than 100 followers type beat. I'm sure he'll have a couple more as the free agency cycle rolls on, but he's been right about a couple things in the past, and he's saying the Warriors are signing Al Horford. So we'll wait and see if the C's end up losing Horford here, but as far as mainstream Celtics reporters go, this is what we heard from Adam Himmelsbeck yesterday before the free agency moratorium opened. Said, I'm told Al Horford continues to mull potential options for next season, and at the moment appears unlikely to have a final decision on the first day of free agency tomorrow. However, right before free agency began, we also heard that Al Horford was a prime target of the Golden State Warriors. So the Celtics don't really have the time right now. Like, they'd have to make a trade in order to be able to comfortably re-sign Al Horford at this point. They have to move Sam Hauser, move George Niang, move Anthony Simons, get off a little bit of his contract in order to give Al Horford the contract that he deserves. And that's like $5 million, could even be upwards of like $8 million. Now, I don't know if the Celtics will have access to a non-taxpayer mid-level exception in order to give him more. So if a team like the Golden State Warriors ends up, offering him 2 years, $16 million, then he's going to go out there and take that deal, because he's going to contend easier for a championship in 25-26 if he were to go to one of those types of teams. I would love to bring Horford back, man. I got an Al Horford Adidas jersey from the year that he signed that summer back in 2016. He made the Celtics a free agency destination, and I would love to see him end his career in Boston. But with the gap year coming up next year, I could easily see him going to chase another title. And who knows, maybe it's a one-year deal that he signs, comes back to Boston for 26-27, rides it out one more year at age 41 with JB, JT, Derek White, and the boys. So I would love to get Al Horford back, but it seems like we're trending towards a separation between Al and Boston. Luke Kornet already on his way out. Celtics have to make some moves here, and I'm not so sure if things are going to be, in the right position for next year. Just checking one more time. Oh, and we have Brook Lopez coming off the board now. 2 years, $18 million to go to the Los Angeles Clippers. Brook Lopez. So we'll see what happens with Boston's center pursuits in free agency, because there aren't a ton of names out there on the market. But even for vet minimum guys, remember, they got to make moves before any of that happens. Like Sam Hauser or George Niang or Anthony Simons, they need to go in order for the Celtics to make any external free agency moves this offseason. That's why they made Amari Williams and Max Shulga two-way contracts to be financially flexible. That's been the goal for Boston this offseason, potentially to get all the way underneath the luxury tax. And in order to do that, they have to trade away an Anthony Simons and a George Niang, or have Sam Hauser be a move that's made as well. Then you can go sign vet minimum contracts, and then you're filling out your roster. And it's not looking all that great for next year, but you remain flexible and avoid repeater tax penalties for 2026-27, when you can get back to being competitive with Jason Tatum back in the lineup. So Luke Kornet, you are a San Antonio Spur. Al Horford, who knows if he will be back with the Boston Celtics next season, but I really, really hope he does. As far as where his pursuits are right now, it seems like he wants to play next season and wants to play on a contender. Looks like the Warriors might be that spot for him in the coming hours. And we will keep you updated with all of that. But my question to you is this: will Al Horford return to the Boston Celtics? Why for yes and for no? Let me know in the comment section what you guys think, and make sure you are subscribed to the channel, because we will be updating you with all the latest Boston Celtics free agency updates, whether Horford moves on or re-signs or whatever veteran minimum Celtics free agents end up coming to the Boston Celtics. We will keep you guys in the loop. So lock us in, hit that big red subscribe button. 100% free Celtics content all off-season long. We'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, let's go C's. And congratulations, Luke Kornet. You got a fat payday. 4 years, $41 million to the San Antonio Spurs.